I was born to kill. I will kill them all, shouted Kostas Pasaris after his arrest for the massacre at General State in 2001, where he shot dead 2 policemen in cold blood. Athanasios Vrakopoulos, 47, and Dionysios Alavisopoulos, 49, succumbed to their injuries immediately, while a special guard of the Ministry of Justice, Andreas Visekis, 33, was seriously injured. I don't have anything personal with these people. If they didn't want to arrest me, I wouldn't have had to kill any of them. It's just that the cops have to die, just like they kill people, because and before they have a chance to explain themselves. Police in Greece, they kill people because they like it, he said in an interview from inside the maximum security prisons in Romania. He was born on March 9, 1975, when his father was only 17 years old, while his mother, a Romanian named Maria Augusta, died 6 years later. He himself dreamed of becoming a captain. In 1990, he was studying at the Naval School in Inousses, but he quickly began to engage in delinquent behavior. At age 15, he began committing petty thefts, which after a while became more frequent, causing the island's inhabitants to react. The student at the time was walking around town with a lot of money, which he showed off by shopping and spending. This raised the first suspicions. Shortly afterwards, he was arrested and taken to prison. The prosecutor had told him, "It's better to be a beggar than a thief." He took the judge's advice and did not hesitate to beg, even when he didn't need the money. The police, who now had him under close surveillance, arrested him again, and this time he was sentenced to 5 years in prison. When he got out of prison, he became an infantryman. He served in the 29th Infantry Regiment in Komotini, and there, in addition to the thefts he did inside the camp, and now possessing the artistic skills of a robber, he entered and emptied houses, taking mainly cash. He was the bandit with the pantyhose, who made the whole of Komotini tremble. They caught him eventually. He went through a military court, but managed to escape from Avlona and travel to Athens. In 1996, he robbed at gunpoint a woman selling fruit at the Kalifea power station, followed by a chase by police officers against who he did not hesitate to shoot at. He was eventually arrested at the scene. While serving his sentence in the prison of Cassandra in Chalkidiki, he met Romanian convict Nicolae Gorea. On December 4, 1999, he was released from prison and joined forces with the Romanian and another compatriot, Ion Vasili. According to the Greek police, from January 31st to February 17, 2000, they jointly committed robberies in hotels, currency exchange offices, and travel agencies in the center of Athens. According to a report of the newspaper Tanea, everything started on February 19, 2000. A random police blockage, a routine control of officers of the Sigma Group of Immediate Action in Vafi Square, ended in a bloody fight. The 3 young men stopped at the blockage of the police without any resistance, but they were determined to turn Maisonneuve Street into a battlefield. With automatic weapons, they fired at the officers of the patrol car, firing shots in bursts. Police officers Panagiotis Polychronos and Prokopis Vlasis were injured in the fight. Bulletproof vests proved lifesavers. The Romanian Ion fell dead, however, while Kostas Pasaris and his friend Nicolae Gorea escaped arrest. The perpetrator's details were made known by him himself the next day. Via radio, he claimed responsibility for the attack on the police squad and threatened to avenge the death of his accomplice. Pasaris had also called the Alpha TV station and threatened the police with retaliation, saying, "I will kill 3 policemen to take revenge." On February the 22nd, the police arrest him, however, in a bar in America Square after close surveillance. Pasaris did not have time to use his weapon. During the interrogations, and according to the report, he snitched and named the second accomplice as Nicolae Gorea, who participated in the bloody fight in Vafi Square. A few hours later, Gorea fell dead from police shots at the palace of Petroupoli. Pasaris suffered a shock upon hearing the news of the death of his childhood friend, who he had met at the age of 15 in the prisons of Kasavetia, which led him to the General State Hospital after his complaints of epileptic fits. In Korydallos, Pasaris was one of the most difficult and unruly prisoners. The well-known chief warden of Korydallos and for many years the president of the Federation of Correctional Officers, Adonis Aravanitos, remembers Pasaris as a difficult child, very difficult. Of the Greek prisoners, the most difficult. Pasaris was a follower of self-justice. He had a tendency to ideologize his delinquency. He needed it as an alibi. He was reading Treatise on Violence, narrated of a shipwrecked man, and Chomsky. The coke that also ate at his mind too. He had put me in his sights. He sent a criminal called Raducanos to my house. As soon as I went to park in the parking lot, I realized someone was hiding. I crawled out behind him and pointed the pistol at him. I hate guns, but I will shoot one if I have to. I don't go anywhere unarmed. Raducanu told me everything, and I let him go. I didn't know if it was the correct decision at the time. The next day, Pasaris requested a hearing in my office. I did not accept him, but I went to his cell. He told me, "Look, you became a security guard and didn't become an outlaw." A year later, Pasaris set up a murder scene to take revenge at the expense of the policemen who accompanied him. On the day of his transfer, Pasaris had completed approximately 1 year of his continuous incarceration. Although he belonged to the category of dangerous prisoners, he boarded the official vehicle that would take him to the hospital without any physical checks for weapons. Unknown how, Pasaris had managed to procure a pistol. The special guard, Andreas Visekis, who accompanied him, describes what happened. I was going forward to log his details. Behind me followed the prisoner and the two chief guards. Suddenly, I hear bang, bang. I turn around. I saw the prisoner pointing a gun at me while wearing handcuffs. Then I felt the bullets hit me, and I don't remember anything else. The two policemen fell dead, and Pasaris disappeared running in an unknown direction. Regarding Visekis, who eventually survived, Pasaris later said in a television interview, "I'm glad that Visekis survived, because I didn't know he was a prison officer. It was winter, they were wearing jackets, and I had every reason to believe he was armed. At some point he should come out and tell the truth." At the end of June 2001, Elas raided an apartment in Neos Cosmos at 5254 Hipparchou Street, where according to information that turned out to be true, there were weapons, grenades, radios, lists of police frequencies, and drugs. There they arrest 24-year-old Dimitris Polivoropoulos, a former prisoner, on the spot. During his interrogation, it emerged that Polivoropoulos was not only a former cellmate of Pasaris, but they were also current roommates. A gigantic operation was immediately organized to arrest the fugitive, and on the afternoon of July the 31st, 2001, more than 100 police officers were deployed. After a long wait, and at around 11 p.m, the signal was given. Unknown and suspicious person approaching the entrance of the apartment building. Seconds later, after a key was inserted into the door, the phrase was heard, "Dimitris, what happened?" The police officers shouted from inside, before he even entered the apartment, "Police, don't move!" The stranger closed the door, and at the same time, the one policeman shot in succession from behind the door. A bullet hit Pasaris in the leg, but he ran away. Pasaris threw a fake grenade at officers, making them hold back. He went down 2 floors and disappeared towards Ekateo Street, right in front of all the officers waiting for him on the ground. A big blunder by the police force. After the failure of the operation, the head of the Hellenic Police, Lieutenant General Ioannis Georgakopoulos, an officer with significant successes, who enjoyed the esteem of many PASOK leaders, and especially Evangelos Yiannopoulos, who had promoted him to the position of chief 3 years before, in 1998, resigned. On August 28, 2001, in a pharmacy in Kypseli, Pasaris shot and killed 50-year-old microbiologist Maria Safu, while seriously wounding her sister, pharmacist Argyro Christakou, who survived, although being shot 5 times. Pasaris, in mid-September 2001, escaped with a forged passport to Romania, where he continued his illegal activities with his new accomplice, Popa. In the early hours of November 25, 2001, and during a robbery at a Bucharest currency exchange, he killed the owner and an employee, taking $16,000, but lost his cell phone. The Romanian police, who arrived at the scene, easily found the last number that Pasaris had called, and almost immediately arrested the suspect, who turned out to be connected to pimping rings. He, knowing that he had lost his mobile phone and suspecting that his second phone was being monitored by the police, tried to mislead his acquaintance by telling him that he was outside of Bucharest. The Romanian officers, however, managed to locate that he was in a certain apartment and decided to raid it, which led to his arrest. After he was arrested and remained under trial for several months, finally, on the 7th of the 30th, 2003, he was brought to a Bucharest court and sentenced to life imprisonment for the robbery and double homicide. Today, Kostas Pasaris is in the Romanian prisons, declaring himself repentant and devoted to God. He claims that he has changed his mind and wants to apologize to the families of the victims. According to his spiritual father, Father Gervasios, Pasaris is what he is, but it is the right of every person, through contemplation and faith, to repent. The priest has been by Pasaris' side for several years and declares that the criminal never knew a mother's love, grew up alone, and ended up being the savage of the Balkans. Pasaris claims he has a goal of also becoming a priest in the future. He made appeals to be deported back to Greece to serve the rest of his sentence. However, his appeals were denied by his home country. In a TV interview, Pasaris also claimed that the world would be a better place if he hadn't been born. In January 2020, the Athens Mixed Court of Appeal sentenced Pasaris for the crimes on Greek soil to 4 life sentences for as many murders and 49 years in prison for 7 attempted murders and 3 robberies.